I believe in an earlier tutorial we mentioned that we would be using a story from a shoot that I did in Ethiopia to illustrate the features and functions of version 6. However, since that time I have been off on a shoot to Cambodia, and over the next couple of weeks I need to edit that video, that project, and so I thought I might as well use that as our sample project. And so we'll be working with a story from Cambodia rather than the video from Ethiopia as we had planned. Just wanted to mention, if you have not yet had an opportunity to take a look at some of the tutorials, we've just put up a new series on Edius 6 that are free and open to the public under video tutorials, quick tips for Edius 6. We've created a tutorial there called Startup Projects, and it might be good to take a quick look at that before you start this tutorial. And it shows you how you can set up some projects that will help you get started on a new project very quickly. And that's actually what this project is that we're seeing right now. It's one of those startup projects. We've called this the HDV startup project, and what we've done is we've gone ahead and created a small project that has some of the media that we use a lot. For example, the music that I use in my projects. You can see I have my music libraries nicely organized into themes, and I wouldn't want to have to do that every time I start a new project. So now I've created this small project that includes the music, some graphics. Now all I have to do is start that project and then rename it. So we'll do a save as, and as we do a save as, we'll take note of where it's being saved so it doesn't get saved along with our startup projects. Go back to the root folder Edius projects and this video. We're actually going to be doing 3 videos on Cambodia, so we'll just give it a general title for now. Cambodia 2011. Now, if you have not yet had a chance to take a look at some of the previous tutorials on how to organize your windows, just know that Edius is set up so that you can rearrange your windows to give you more room to work on a specific task. For example, in this tutorial, we're going to be working primarily with a bin window. So we're just going to expand that bin window way out. We don't need to work with a timeline that much, so it doesn't have to be that large. And the preview window, let's go ahead and change this to 1 preview window instead of 2. Go to the single mode, and let's go ahead and get started with organizing our media. In order to have efficient edit sessions, it's really important to have good organization of your media. Let's go ahead and bring some media in from our hard drives. You can do that several ways. One is just to double-click on the bin window itself, and this will bring up a window that works a lot like Windows Explorer. You can use it to navigate through your computer system, looking at the various drives on your system. And I believe that the clips that we're going after are on the N drive and under Cambodia 11. And as we go into that folder directory, you'll see that the clips show up. Just like Windows, you can change how these are displayed. If you'd prefer to see this listed in details and be able to sort based on the date modified, the size, the date created, or the name, you can sort your clips that way. I usually prefer to have the clips showing as icons, and that way I can get a visual representation of what I'm bringing in. Now, if you are just needing 2 or 3 clips from a folder, this is a good way to just go in and select. Once you've selected the ones you want, holding down your control key, you just hit the open, and Edius will bring them into the bin. However, in my case, I know that I want to be able to access all of the media that I digitized from my shoot. And so I'll go back to that folder. I could do it by just double-clicking on the bin area, or I could go up to our icons up here and choose this icon here, which is Add Clip. I'm just going to go in and select all of these, hit the first one, and hit Control A, select all of them, and go ahead and open that. And because I have probably 1,000 clips here, this will take a little bit to bring in, so we'll just put you on pause and bring you back once they're up. All right, we're back, and our media has now arrived into our project and is resident in our bin window. Edius 6, if you're just starting to play with it, handles the media a little bit different than previous versions, and You'll notice that it seems to save on resources by only showing a small percentage of the clips at any given time using this, what I call a picon, or the poster frame. If we scroll down further, we see that it's all blank, but it quickly fills in and shows you that poster frame so that you can visually get an idea of what that clip is all about. So what we need to do now is take all of the media that is in this one bin and sort them into folders, organize them in a way that will be easy to find and retrieve clips as we are working on our edit. And let's notice first of all that we can double click on any clip in our bin and it'll show up in our preview window. If you want to see it just a little bigger, you can slide this across. You can play that media clip, slide it along with your mouse, the little slider bar, to quickly go through and take a look at the clip. Double click on another one, bring it in, and that way if the first frame, the poster frame, isn't giving you enough information about what's included in that clip, you can bring it in and take a quick look at it. You can also drag it down to the timeline and look at it that way. So what we want to do at this point is start organizing our clips. And I like to bring media into what is called the root. Well, it looks like we didn't do that. Looks like we had our music folder open when we brought our media in. So the media just went right into our music folder. Let's just change that. First of all, let's put this one clip here is actually a sequence, a reference to a sequence. So let's drop that into our sequence folder. And then let's just go through and select all of these. Yeah, it looks like they're all media that we just imported. So let's just select them all. Holding down the Shift key, you can grab them all and just drag them over to our root folder. So they're now all resident in a folder or a bin called root. And we don't have to have this bin or folder called root. We could change the name to anything we like. Let's call it the main folder. Alright, so now with all our clips in the main folder, we can start going through them and dropping them into appropriate folders. And what we might want to do is just start off by creating some folders. Just right click on the main folder, select new folder, and if you have a general idea already about the clips, the media that you've brought in, you can probably create some folders very easily to get started and then add as you need to. For example, I know I have some of these classroom shots. So we'll make a folder called Classroom Shots. I know that I'll have some interviews. I know that I'm going to have some just general country interest or scenic. I know that part of this video has to do with women's groups. And there's also some children's groups, and also some men's groups. So as you get started, just come up with some folder names that will be appropriate for the media that you're sorting out, and then get started on your sorting. Now, some editing programs actually allow you to have more than one bin window open at once. And some people coming from those programs kind of look at Edius and say, well, how come I can't open more than one bin window? And I kind of grew up on an Avid software and started out, probably my first 5 years of editing on nonlinear was with the option to have these multiple bins open. And it can kind of help when you're sorting things out. When you drag things to a new bin, it might be a little bit easier to drag and pop those into another bin that's open. But I find it's pretty much just as easy to drag the media over to the folders themselves. Just think of these folders as extra bins, and even if you can't have them open, you can go ahead and quickly drop these into the appropriate folder. Under Classroom Shots, we might create another folder called Teacher. And you can have as many of these subfolder shots as you like. If you wanted to say, okay, of the 20 teacher shots, maybe we want to break that down further and create another folder called Instruction. And like I said, you can have as many subfolders as you want, and so you can really become detailed in the way that you organize your clips. And if you need to, you can stretch this out a little bit so that you have more room for your subfolder directory. Let's go back and drop teacher into her shot. Now we can't see too much what's going on here. Okay, if the first frame, if your poster frame doesn't represent what the clip is all about that well, what you can do is, with holding your mouse wheel down, if you kind of slide your mouse to the right-hand direction, you'll actually move through that clip. And when it gets to a point where you have a frame that better represents what that clip is about, just let your finger come up off your mouse wheel and it'll stop there. And now whenever you look at that clip, no matter where you drop it, it'll have a frame that better represents the shot. Might point out too that if you go past what you wanted, you can always just start sliding in the left-hand direction to bring it back to get a frame that you like. Okay, now this shot is the main girl of our story riding her bicycle. So, trying to remember her name. I think it was Yanni. So we'll go with that. And if my memory is failing me, we can easily rename anything. So for now, we'll just drop any shots of her down into that folder. I believe this is another shot of her arriving at school on her bicycle. So we can just now continue to drop that in. And here's another shot of teacher. We'll drop that into. Okay, now this might be better to go right into instruction, and we'll change the poster frame again to better represent the shot. Drop that into instruction. And we'll just got some more here that we'll just drop into classroom. Teacher instructing. Okay, now we have our featured girl at the board. Let's change that poster frame again so that we'll know what that clip is all about when we see it again. Yanni at school. Yanni with teacher. So that could either go in instruction for teacher shots, but we'll probably find it easier if we put it in Yanni. Okay, this is actually a shot of my client, and it wouldn't really fit in any of the folders we have so far, so let's just maybe make a folder called General Interest. And we might want to send her some clips once we get a chance. Now this next one is just color bars. What I usually like to do is have a folder called Trash. And any shot that I know I'll never be able to use, I can just put them in trash, and at the end of the day, I'll empty the trash. All right, let's keep moving. What we have here now looks like a woman's group. And we have quite a few of them here, so we could go in and select the first one and go and find the last one that looks like women's group, and holding down the Shift key, select them all, and drag those into women's groups. And so you can see, even though Edius doesn't allow you to have more than one bin window open at once, it's still no problem. You can sort very easily, and then when it comes time to retrieving, very easy to move to another folder and find the shots that you need to. Okay, this looks like the children's group, and let's drop those into children's groups. You know, there's some shots that it's basically just faces, and so I'll make a folder called Faces. And again, you might want to break that down to say men, women, children. And you get the idea. We won't spend the whole time sorting through our 1,000 clips. Here we've got some interviews coming up of Yanni. And so what we'll want to do is just select all of those and drop them into interviews, although first of all we might want to make some subfolders in interviews because we know that we interview her dad, we interview her mom. So And Yanni at recess time. So that's not really classroom shots. Maybe we could start building more folders under Yanni herself, and so a new folder here might be and this is Yanni in front of her school. And so as you go through all of your media in that main bin that you brought in, you can see that you can organize your clips very nicely to make it very easy to find your clips later when you're actually working on the edit. Now, I probably should have pointed out, if you're not seeing an area here where you can build folders, you're not seeing any folders, probably what has happened is you have toggled your bin window to not have the folders displayed, so that it gives you more room to show your poster frames, your PyCons, and that might be helpful if you're just working on a small project with 30 or 40 media clips and all you need is one bin. But if you have hundreds of clips that you want to sort and organize, you really need to have it toggled so that you can show your folder structure, add new folders, and work with a large number of clips that way. So just know that you have the option of toggling back and forth. If you at some point need more room to show more clips at once, you can do that, and then click once again to reveal your file structure, your folder structure there. Let's maybe take a look at some of the rest of these icons up here. It used to be in previous versions of Edius that Edius would hide menu options underneath the logo, kind of like a Easter egg hunt. But these days in version 6, it is mostly just a logo. I believe if you double click on it, you will extend out the bin right to the bottom of your screen. And that can be helpful if, once again, you're needing to work with just the bin window and you want to quickly extend it out. So click it again to bring it back into place. You have a search tool here that might help you find some clips. Hopefully it works better in version 6. I haven't had a chance to try it out yet. One of these days I'll have to make a tutorial just on the search tool and see if we can't get it figured out. Hopefully in version 6 they've got it all sorted and it'll be an excellent tool to work with. All right, the next one here we've already worked with, the add clip to bin. That's how you can invoke the window that is kind of like Windows Explorer that helps you go through all of your hard drives searching for media. And the next option here actually invokes a title tool that comes with Edius. In a later tutorial, we'll spend more time with the title tool and show you how you can use that in your projects to build titles and graphics. And here is an opportunity for you to create color bars, color mats. We've already done this in our startup program, but in case you haven't had a chance to see that video, let's just maybe take a moment and let's go to our graphics folder. Just point to your color bars and click on color bars, and you'll see that Edius gives you an opportunity to choose a variety of different types of color bars. We'll go with a SMPTE color bar. You can choose the level of tone that you want to go with your color bars. I usually like -12 dB gain, and just click on that and you now have color bars and tone. And also under this icon you can create a color mat, and I always like to have a black mat in my bin, in my graphics bin, and it's very helpful to be able to just dissolve down to black. Just throw that on the timeline right next to the clip that you wanted to dissolve down to. So we have teacher now in classroom. Let's just throw on a dissolve using our keyboard shortcut for dissolves, and we can see we have a nice dissolve down to black. But you're not limited to black. Let's go back to color mat, and by clicking on one of these boxes you can see that you can choose a nice, well, let's make a nice dark blue. And you can also do gradiated colors if you like. Let's pick a second one here and maybe find a nice maroon, purple as our second option, and then change how many colors we want to work with up here. 2, and you can see we've got now a gradiated mat. We can change the direction of the color to anything we want, any direction we want. Hit OK, and now we have a gradiated mat. If we wanted to fade down to our gradiated mat, we could do that as well. All right, moving on, we see that our next one is a cut and paste kind of tool. If you have a clip selected and you wanted to make a copy of that or save it to a kind of a clipboard, you can just use that tool. It's actually using that tool, it's taken it out of this folder, but it's put it on a clipboard, and we could bring it back using the paste icon. And you can see we've got that clip back. It's pasted it to the bottom. Let's maybe open up a bin that doesn't have so many clips in it to make this easier to demonstrate. You may have noticed as we went along here that besides the cut, we also have a copy. So if we wanted to make a second copy of any clip, we could use this tool as well to make a copy, and then a paste would give us a second reference of that clip. It's not actually duplicating the clip on your hard drive, it's just making a second reference to the one clip that's on your hard drive. Now, it's all nice and fine to be able to have these icons up here, but if you've done a lot of word processing, you'll probably find it just as easy to use the keyboard shortcuts for these types of operations. For example, if I wanted to cut this clip out of this bin, I could use the Control X, and then using the Control V would bring it back. And the same with copy and paste. A Control C makes a copy of a clip, and Control V pastes that clip into our bin again. So it's good to know that you have those options. Let's see what else we got here. Show in player. Some of these icons just are actually make it harder to do an operation, but you can just click on that, and the clip that is selected will show up in the player. But remember that you can do the same thing just either by double clicking on a clip brings it into the player, or by simply dragging a clip, tossing it into the player also brings it into the player. All right, anything else here? We could add a selected clip to the timeline using this icon here, but once again, it is probably just easier to drag and drop a clip down to the timeline. Delete. If we really wanted to delete a clip, we could choose this option. It's not actually going to delete it from your hard drive, but it will remove the reference of it from your bin. So if you had a number of clips that you know that you'll never use in this project, but you don't necessarily want to take them off your hard drives because you might use them in a different project, but you do want to kind of trim down your program a little bit and not have so many media clips referenced in the one program, make it slimmer and trimmer and easier to work with, easier to open up, easier to save, all those things. You can go through and select clips that you know that you're not going to use, and either use this X key, or if you right click, you can also choose the delete option from the drop down menu, or simply hit your delete key. Lots of options. Okay, properties. This is something that you'll use a lot. If you want to check out more information, the metadata, find out more about your clip, with the clip selected, you can choose this option here, or use the keyboard shortcut, Alt-Enter, or right-click on any clip and go down to Properties. And this brings up a little window that shows you more information about the clip, the aspect ratio, the frame size, the field order, type of video that it is, the frame rate, and if you want to find out where it's stored, you can choose the file info and find out more information, the size, where it's located on your hard drive, when it was shot, all that nice stuff. Okay, so properties and view. Oh yes, this is something that is good to know about. You can make your icon smaller so that you can see more at once. Go back to our main bin and see how we can see a lot of clips at once. Or if you prefer, you can have them a large PyCon with lots of text, smaller PyCons that might give you more room for more text, or just text itself. So you can see you have a variety of ways to display your media using View. And tools, well, we'll leave that for another tutorial. All right, so now that gives you an idea of some of the functions that are available to you through the icon options up there. Let's take a look now at the information that can be displayed alongside of your clips. First of all, you can stretch these out. If they're not showing all of the information that you need, you can move these apart a little bit. But if you're looking for more information, just know that by going up to the very top part of this window and right-clicking on the little kind of banner border up at the top there, you can see that we are actually only selecting a small percentage of the information that is available about each individual media clip. So for example, if we wanted to set up a comment field for our clips, we could just click on this once, and we'll see that we have now added a comment field. And if we'd prefer to have that comment field closer to our clip itself, we can slide that across and maybe stretch this out a little bit to give us more room for the comments. Then we can go ahead and make a comment about any clip. And so we can see Yanni is washing clothes, so we could just make a text reference here, so that if the PyCon isn't showing us enough information, you do have the opportunity of typing in some text there. But that's just one of many options that you can add here. For example, you might want to show the file size, and you see it showed up here. Maybe you want to bring that over. One nice improvement that has happened to the bin window since version 5. With version 6, you can now go in and let's open up a clip here. We can now go and set our in and out points, or you could have an assistant do this. You could have your assistant sit down and go through all of your clips and pick what they think would probably be the points in the clip that you might be able to use, and set an in and an out point using the tools, the in and out tools here, and then move on to the next clip and do the same with that. And just go through all of your bins this way and set appropriate in and out points of the portions of clip that you might actually be able to use. And now in version 6, Edius will remember your in and outs. In all other previous versions of Edius, you could go through and set these in and out points, and Edius would not remember. But just notice that as we go back to this clip now, without having done anything, Edius remembers our in and out points. Used to be that you had to, after you chose an in and out point, you had to update the bin. That's no longer necessary. And in fact, that option is no longer there under our preview window. Okay, a new option also in version 6 of the bin is that you can make subclips. This is a long clip with various angles of the women's group. And so let's throw that into our women's group folder, bring it into our play window, and now as we go through this clip, notice how we can make subclips from this clip. Let's choose an in and an out of our establishing shot of the group. Nice little pan over. Set our out point, and then down here add subclip to bin. And it will now bring in another reference to that clip. Again, it doesn't make a copy of the clip to your hard drive. It's just another reference to the clip. But notice as we bring this clip into our bin that it only has a short portion of that clip. So now we have a subclip, and we can go back to our main clip and scan through it and see if we can't find another important clip that we should get. Okay, perhaps this close-up of people writing in their reflect group. Scan across and bring me right to about there, hit another out point, and make a second subclip of that. And so you can see, you can go through all of your clips or have an assistant go through your clips and make a variety of subclips this way. And that will help you out when it comes time to edit, make it easier to find the clips that you're looking for. And something else we should point out is that you can have any media clip represented in multiple bins. For example, there's kind of a crossover between these two stories, the women's group and the story of the girl, Yanni. Yanni's mother is a member of one of these women's groups that my client has started in these villages. And so if we had a folder, for example, under Yanni that said Mom, and we had shots of Yanni's mother in the women's group. Besides having the shot placed in the women's group folder, we may also want to have the shot dropped into Yanni's mom. And so that as we're doing the story about Yanni, and we might want to make a side reference to how her mother goes to the ADRA groups to learn how to read, then we'll be able to very quickly find the shots of her mom, not only in the women's group folder, but also in the folder under the girl. So yeah, just remember that as you're sorting through, you're organizing your clips, any clip can be in multiple bins. It doesn't, again, make a separate copy on your hard drives, doesn't take up space, it's just another reference to the media that's already there. All right, there's just one last thing I'd like to show in this tutorial about what you can do with the clips in your bin, and that is you do have some right-click options. Go ahead and point to any one of your media clips and right-click on it. You'll see you have a drop-down menu. Again, you can cut, copy, paste, delete. Another option, though, is that you can convert the file, and right now, these are raw files that have come right off my Canon camera, the M2T files, HDV files. If I wanted to convert these to a Canopus codec, I can do that by using this option here, and Edius will come up with your conversion options here. You can change it to a Canopus HQ online quality, or you can choose from a variety of other options there to convert that file to. And let's say that you have brought in all of your media and have chosen the M2T option if you're pulling off tape, or if you're pulling off other media from tapeless cameras, and you're working with them in Edius, and you find that as you maybe work with several layers or effects that it's starting to stutter, and you might want to speed up your process of editing. Well, you could set up a batch process for overnight and convert all of your media to the Canopus codec. Select all of the media that you want to convert, and when you've got a bunch of clips selected, now when you right-click and choose Convert, you'll see that you have a batch option. And so you can set up an overnight operation of converting all of your clips to a Canopus codec, and you may find that it might ease up on the speed of not only opening your project, but also working with the project if you're working with several layers and a bunch of effects. Okay, let's see what else we've got under our right-click options. We can show in player. Well, we know how to do that faster. Add to timeline. That's probably not an option we'd use with the right clip. You can choose different colors. If you want to, you could set up your clips thematically under a color. Let's maybe change this one to red, and we'll see that that shows up over here. We can slide this over, and that way you could, rather than use your bins or your file folders, you could set up your, you could kind of color code your clips according to their theme, and that way when you bring them down into the timeline, you'll see that they have a little bit different color, and you can organize them that way. Some people like to do it that way. Okay, let's see what else. There's a couple of other things I wanted to show you here. Oh yes, say you want to find out where that clip is stored on your hard drives. Let's say you're kind of crazy like me and have 10 hard drives attached to your computer, and you're not sure where you put it. Was it N? Was it Passport 5? Passport Q? Which one was it? Well, if you right-click and choose Show in Explorer, Edius will go and find that clip where it's stored on the hard drive and show you right where it is, and now we know that it's in my Passport N. So that's kind of nice. If you want to, you can transfer the clips to your project folder. Wherever our project folder is, I believe it's on the I drive, okay, in Edius Projects under I. So if we wanted to transfer some of these clips to the I drive, you can do that with your right click and choose Transfer to Project Folder. I'm guessing if we chose a selection here, we'd be able to do that as a batch. Well, it doesn't say batch, but I'm guessing that it would transfer to the project folder, and I'm guessing it would make a copy. It's not going to delete them from where they are on my N drive. It's just going to make a copy to the I drive. And some people like to actually save all of their media to the same folder that their project is in, and that way everything is organized very nicely. It's all on one hard drive. They can archive it nicely, put it away for another day, and everything is together on one drive. Well, you see you have some other options there. to consider. But I think that pretty much does it for organizing our media and working with the bin window in Edius.